In a stunning breach of etiquette and decorum even by the increasingly melodramatic standards of the limelight-scorched Duke and Duchess of Sussex, Meghan Markle was very publicly reduced to a sobbing spectacle during the US Open Women's Final this weekend. And the architect behind inflicting such callous humiliation upon the former Suits actress? None other than longtime royal, squad, bestie and elite athlete powerhouse Serena Williams herself. The explosive incident erupted suddenly towards the tense climax of Williams' dramatic 6-3, 3-6, 6-4 championship victory over Canadian upstart Bianca Andreescu at Arthur Ashe Stadium in Queens. Having already fought off a ferocious second-set comeback from her tenacious teenage opponent, an increasingly riled Williams somehow found the clutch reserves to snatch a late lead in the final set, ultimately spiking down a vicious cross-court winner to seal her record-tying 24th career Grand Slam singles title. In that euphoric moment of heart-bursting triumph, the transcendent 37-year-old American megastar superwoman simply could not resist celebrating in her signature explosive fashion, gratuitously flexing and roaring in primal ecstasy towards her player's box containing husband Alexis and infant daughter Olympia. Unfortunately, directly adjacent loomed an awkward front-row sight of a very pregnant Duchess of Sussex sandwiched between two burly sovereign protection guards attempting to seem incognito in ball caps and Lacoste leis while failing miserably. At first, I legitimately thought Serena was just getting extra hyped per usual after one of her patented big match victories over a fantastic young talent like the Andreescu kid, described a nearby spectator seated directly behind Meghan and the bulky plainclothes security escorts. She was flexing those incredible arms of hers and yelling all sorts of cathartic screams, normal, reasonably acceptable behavior for an all-time legend fresh off yet another iconic Grand Slam conquest, right? But the spectacle quickly went totally haywire when Serena's feral roars slowly metamorphosed into sharp trash-talking tirades aimed directly at the poor Duchess just sitting there next to those plainclothes guards, the aghast attendee continued. Her eyes snapped right towards Meghan's paddock and suddenly she's snarling things like, "No fake princessy ass is stealing my shine tonight," and "Take those wannabe fancy Nancy airs back across the pond where they belong." Within seconds, a mortified Meghan's eyes had already welled up instantaneously as Williams barked deafening verbal assaults shattering any royal airs of poised serenity and composure typically expected from a duchess performing public duties. The six-time US Open champion went on to unload a brutally excessive overhand right hook smash to compound Meghan's tearful anguish. Real queens don't take fake crowns and demand everyone kneels before these pampered attitudes acting like you're better than everyone just for happening to be born into modern human zoos like the monarchy. Williams seethed at an openly weeping Meghan while trampling over several courtside chairs towards the path where the Duchess party was seated. Titles and bloodlines don't buy struggle-made respect from warriors who scrapped for everything they've gotten. As the stunning verbal tirade crescendoed, Serena proceeded to flagrantly rip her sweat-soaked Nike tank top directly off her body and dirt-spikingly twirl the tattered garment overhead while amping up to a deafening roar, "This ain't some pretend monarchy ladies high tea. This is my, expletive, house." Whose house? Whose house? At that point, Meghan burst into uncontrollable tears while hubby Harry gripped her shoulders in a protective crouch and the two lunkhead bodyguards swung into panicked crisis management mode, both of them puffing out their chests and assuming daunting postures like they were somehow ready to take down. Given the shocking and unprecedented nature of Serena Williams' verbal assault on Meghan Markle at the US Open, the crowd and other players' reactions were likely a mix of stunned disbelief, outrage, and confusion. Here's one way the scene could have unfolded. The packed Arthur Ashe Stadium initially fell into a vacuum of silent bewilderment as Williams's celebratory roars morphed into a startlingly personal tirade against the Duchess of Sussex. Spectators watched slack-jawed as the all-time great tennis legend tore off her shirt and berated Meghan as a wannabe and fake princess, amid a torrent of unseemly insults. As Markle broke down in tears, the celebrity-studded crowd began to murmur with nervous confusion and anger. Shouts of, "What is she doing?" and "That's enough, Serena," rang out as the situation threatened to spiral out of control completely. Several fans even began booing and heckling the unraveling Williams. On the court, a blindsided Bianca Andreescu stood in shock, her historic US Open victory instantly overshadowed. The teenager looked around helplessly at the chaos, seemingly unsure whether to attempt intervening or simply exit the fracas. Meanwhile, the chair umpire repeatedly demanded order, slamming his racket to the ground to no avail. As Serena's bodyguards finally rushed the court to restrain the raging champion, other players viewing from the tunnel began hurriedly spilling out to the apron in disbelief. Audible gasps and cries of outrage could be heard from the tight-knit players' box area containing Williams' husband, Alexis Ohanian, and her peers like Sloane Stephens and Madison Keys. "I was watching from the players' lounge and I still can't quite believe what I saw," a shaken Naomi Osaka later recounted. Serena is normally so dialed in and focused after big wins, maintaining poise and perspective. To see her completely unload like some unhinged fanatic on Meghan of all people, it was honestly chilling behavior more befitting a villain heel wrestler cutting an insane promo. "This isn't the Serena we all know and respect as a shining example of black excellence and women's empowerment," Osaka continued, her voice cracking with emotion. "If anything, those disgraceful comments tarnish her incredible legacy more than any harsh lineswomen call or coaching violation controversy ever could." As a mortified Alexis Ohanian frantically apologized to the British Royals' private security detail, other players like Coco Gauff and Francis Tiafoe looked on in a mix of horror, bewilderment, and disappointment at their childhood idol's uncharacteristic tantrum. In the end, Williams had to be escorted off the court to a chorus of thunderous boos as the stadium descended into utter chaos. Her moment of glory had been completely overshadowed by an uncontrolled melee causing psychological anguish for Markle, who was ushered out of the facility in tears alongside a furious Prince Harry.